Turn down the lights, turn down the bed, turn down these voices inside my head. Lay down with me, tell me no lies, just hold me close. Don't patronize me. 'Cause I can't make you love me if you don't. You can't make your heart feel something that it won't. And here in the dark, in these final hours, I've laid down my heart. I'll feel the power, though you won't. No, you won't. 'Cause I can't make you love me. Oh, if you don't. Well, hello everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Covers Off the Street, my new music blog talking about my experiences on and off the street performing, and my career from where I basically started professionally up to even now, and maybe in the future once we get there. I decided to maybe try out a different layout. This is my layout for when I stream on Twitch, except for the fact that it has some other stuff on display. If you guys want to check it out, please come join me on Twitch, 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, Monday and Wednesday, and Saturday at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, where we hang out, we play games, and I sing. And we have a great time. Episode 12. I have it all written down here because there's just so much. All my scribbles here. Like, so much. But I want to make sure we got through it. I want to make sure I share as much as I can. Okay, so part 2 is the baby bear and the mama bear of this whole album process. I wrote the songs and then I decided I want to make the album, and now it's time to figure out, okay, so I want to make this album really great. I want to make sure the players are taken care of, that the quality of the music's really good, that everything is just the best voice that it could give to the album to bring it to life. So for that, you need capital, is what my manager would say. I bet he's laughing watching this right now. He's like laughing and nodding his head. If you want to make something of quality, you can make art that is of quality without spending money. But if you want to make something memorable and bring it to life and to make it the best that it possibly can, you do need to invest something, time, money, whatever that is. And for me, because I wanted to hire the right players and people involved, I decided, and because I wanted to also, promote it and get album artwork and CDs, like all those things cost money. So everybody who's been in retail is probably nodding their head with me as well. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Any business owner. For some of you, this might be a little bit boring, but it's actually very important. So, fundraising. I decided to raise the funds for the album because I didn't have the funds in my bank account. Nope. So I researched a couple platforms, and at the time I had heard really good things about Pledge Music, so I went with Pledge Music. Now, for some of you who know Pledge Music, you're going, oh boy, she did Pledge Music, and we'll get there in just a moment. So, Pledge Music, man, was a great platform until it was not, unfortunately. And I guess part of me wishes, maybe if I would have dug a little deeper, but you know what? Things happen the way that they're meant to happen, and I trust that. So that's all I can do. It's all in the past. First, I set the goal. They don't show your goals online when you do it, and you usually have a representative that helps you raise your goal. And so I think her name is like Alyssa or something. But anyway, virtual person helping you make sure everything's set up to have the best fundraising possible. So I wanted to raise 10 grand, and the first day I had raised a good amount, so I was pretty optimistic, had people that gave and friends and people and super fans. So I was really optimistic. And so they talk about, tiers when you do it. But with this, I'd say it's more of like a Patreon experience where you're offering a different experience depending on how you're choosing to give to the project. Now I'm on Patreon because I have learned my lesson, but I digress. So, so I made a video of my friend Diamond, who's also an artist, but he's also really great with photography and video. And so we made this video, and we just spent the day brainstorming, like, what is the voice of this album? What do people want to know about it? What strings these songs together? What is the theme? Like, how can I communicate this so that people want to be part of it? So after I figured out how, my dad being, an inspiration and coming back to music and putting out something important and wanting to also put in his inner voice in some of it, I decided to go from that angle of telling the story. So we made this trailer, and some of it was clips that he had taken with me. Some of it was past stuff, and I'll let you guys watch it for sure.
When you start with something simple.
My name is Sarah Lightman, and I grew up in a small town in New Jersey. Growing up, I was completely entranced hearing my father sing, so much that his voice inspired me to be a singer-songwriter. Then when I was 14, my father suddenly passed away, and I didn't know how to continue doing music without him.
And find what you're about.
After many years, I took a blind leap and moved to Los Angeles. For the first few years, the City of Angels kicked my butt. After putting in a great deal of time street performing, things started to happen. I released an EP, 2 singles, and became endorsed by Luna Guitars. I started performing at Universal City Walk, and with the support of others, released my first music video on their Jumbotron. This year marks my 5th year in LA, and after learning a lot, I have a lot of experiences I want to share. I hope sharing my heart with you will help bring you happiness and inspire you too. As a street performer, I have a tight budget, so I'm going to need your support to make the album happen. This is going to be a fully produced and mastered studio album. As a thank you for your pledge, I have put together exclusive treats, and pledgers will receive the full album before anyone else. Thank you for taking the time to watch this video. This life is anything but ordinary, so let's get through it together.
The road goes ever on, and then on.
Yeah, so that was the trailer. I uploaded it to YouTube. It was also on my Pledge Music site. I posted it so many times. I paid for advertising, all kinds of stuff. Unfortunately, during the advertising, I mostly got a lot of creeps because I didn't know what I was doing. I was just trying all the things. I was like, it's just gonna happen. It's gonna work out. That was where my mind was. So I ended up choosing Pledge Music because even though they take a little bit bigger of a cut, you have someone help you make it successful. Or so I thought. So initially I was trying to raise, and this was around the holidays. So I figured, it was kind of like how the timing worked out, but also I figured, people will be a little giving around then. I'm going to wait till October, November, December-ish time. So that's kind of what I did. And I had talked over my bassist who has done successful fundraising, was talking it over with me too. And we just were like, yeah, I think this month will be good. And I researched it for it's probably 6 months just planning this out since the summer of being on, like, I think I started planning it around the time when I played the stage at Universal City Walk with band, and that was like when I was like kind of beginning talking about it, asking questions and like doing research. And so anyways, so there were like dips where I was just like, some days I was like, it's a 3-month thing of raising, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like, am I gonna make it? Is this actually working? I feel really annoying. I feel like I'm begging people. I feel obnoxious. Like, they think, like, I just told myself the worst things about myself because I didn't know, like, if it was gonna work, and there was just so much unknown and negativity that, like, I had to just fight through, and anxiety and even depressiveness at some points of just, like, you know, feeling low about, like, well, what if we don't make it, and then I don't know what I'm gonna do, and like, so there's just all these things that came up in my head as I just like pushed through every day. And so luckily, okay, they don't show the goal total as I mentioned, so it was around Hanukkah and I knew I wasn't gonna reach 10K. It was like, it was close to 5K, so I knew I could at least reach 5. And the way that Pledge Music works is you don't get to get any of the funding unless you raise everything or over that amount. It's what you call a fixed goal. I had done the flexible goal with home, and that didn't. And it also motivates me as well to like give urgency and stuff. So it was like a 2.5 month-ish thing, and I had reached out to my campaign person and I said, hey, like, I don't think I'm gonna reach 10K. Could we change it to 5K? Pepper, are you at the door? I think I heard some meowing. Pepper! The door's open. It is open. You can come in if you want. Well, she will come in or she won't. So I said, hey, like, could we do that? Is there any way to extend the campaign by a couple days? I can feel it. I just need 1 more week. So she gets back to me. She says, sure. And I'm like, oh, okay, great. So raises down to 5K. And then, so then the way it shows on the site is that it looks like I raised it. So the next day I post on social media, it's a Hanukkah miracle. We got most of the funding. We only need this much left to encourage people to give because it's successful. It's all about how you market yourself and tell your story to get people to connect with you. So, so I just remember leaving that, and then people, like, of course believed it because they didn't know what was going on. But it made it exciting. That was the whole thing, is I needed people to be excited. I wanted them to be excited and entertained by this and like wanting to be along with the journey. And it's not just about getting the money. I just want my fans to feel good and connected to what I'm doing. So, it worked. So I ended up raising like about $5,500. And then I got one anonymous donor outside of Pledge Music. Yeah, so I raised it. I watched the funds finalize. And so maybe like a week before, my friend Sam, who just did a campaign with them, reaches out to me and he said, hey, don't be alarmed, but like payments have been really late. I'm still waiting on mine, so just really be on top of them. And I said, oh, okay. Sure. So that's what I did. I saw that it was finalized, but I didn't, and people's cards were charged. They know about that. And then I didn't get the money. And this was December. January rolls around and I'm supposed to play that big NAMP stage that we talked about. And so I'm just trying to play it cool, prep my band while dealing on the back end with making this album and trying to figure out where the funds are. So, I sent an email. I said, to myself, that's all I can do. I'm just going to put it out there. And that's all I did. And nothing. Didn't really hear anything other than the same thing of just going, oh, we're just late on payment processor issue, blah, blah, blah. That's what I was hearing from this girl, Alyssa, that was my helper. So I'm like, okay. So then I'm like, there's nothing I can do. I just kept telling myself that there's nothing I can do. Let me just focus on this damn performance. This is what's happening now. All I can do. So that's what I did. And it was scary, just like letting go of that and like just having fun, not knowing what was going to happen. While we're booking all the players, me and Ty the sound guy, we're just booking all the players, just trusting like, we'll find the money somehow. It'll work out somehow. Let's just move forward and try to make this thing happen. And so, yeah, I remember we had E-Man booked, which is the drummer for Andy Grammer. And he was booked for our first session. And I'm just like, I need the money. Like, where is it? And so I'm not into name dropping, but like I was at the point where I was desperate because nobody was reaching out. It got to the point just in that 1 month of January where they started to not respond to me at all, which was bad. That's a bad sign. And so I reached out and I said, hey, like, we have an A-list artist drummer coming into our session. You are making me look bad. This is not okay. Like, I was just really upfront and I just laid it out. Like, this is what it says and guarantees on your site and in your contract. This is going against stuff. This money needs to be there by Monday. Like, point blank. I just was like really concrete and drew a boundary. And then nothing. I didn't hear anything. So I just like lots of breathing, lots of keeping as calm as I possibly can. And so I had a little bit in my savings and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to use that money to pay that player. And I'm just going to do that until I get paid. And I was even told by a couple other people that were like, oh yeah, don't be too alarmed. Some people took 6 months to get paid out. And I'm like, 6 months? What the what? Like, I don't know. Like, so yeah, that's what I did. I Venmo'd everybody from my personal savings. Slowly going broke. And then I just started to street perform and grab whatever gigs I could. I would do like odd jobs to even like, and that was just so I could pay my bills and rent and all that. So I dealt with that and even other personal stuff too, like just natural personal stuff that comes up in life on top of that and all that. So it was crazy. And then, yes, I don't hear anything. Then the founder puts out a statement about it. The founder who was not, and the CEO and he wasn't in charge or anything. And so, but he was like a founder and he had started another company, whatever. So he puts out a statement saying like, like this is horrible. This shouldn't be happening because he founded it and he is a musician. This is the opposite of what he wanted to happen. So he jumped on to try to save the company in order to pay out his music friends who were using it and all the other artists. And it was thousands, hundreds of, like at least $100,000 in debt to artists that they hadn't paid out. And so then, Rolling Stone put out an article, basically all of them, Billboard, they all put out articles about it. So it's definitely like a real thing. If you guys want to know more about it, you can totally Google it. But yeah, it was just horrible. And like, yeah, so I just remember like crying because I was like, I was like paying somebody out. I didn't cry. I mean, I didn't let them know about it, but like I was just like crying and freaking out after, like, what am I gonna do? Like, I don't know. And just had to keep going. I couldn't stop. And so like I did the best I can and like take care of myself during that time and my mental health, but it was hard. It was really, really, really hard. And yeah, so street performed a ton. And then when like random odd jobs and stuff would come up, I would just jump on them, even if they weren't music related. I'd be like, yeah, I'll do that. Yeah, just because I needed to like pay my bills and make this thing happen and pay everybody on time. So that's what I did. I literally like, I took like, cause like I had worked for restaurants. I have worked for service people. I've worked for so many people where they let their issues, even though it wasn't their issue to deal with, whatever the issue is, they've let it affect their staff so badly, or cutting hours or whatever it is. They've like been guilty of this thing. And I've like watched so many business owners make this thing where they just didn't care about their people and they let their troubles like hurt them, that I was like, you know, I don't want to be like that. Like, I will take all, like, I don't want this pain, but I would rather less people getting hurt. So I took it upon myself to just like absorb whatever had to come through that unfortunate issue, and just paid my players what they wanted to be paid on time, and just somehow found a way to make it work. So just like the music video. Now in the future, that's not gonna happen. Yeah, I remember I even jumped on a gig with Ty the Sound Guy, and like I helped I helped him with a couple gigs, like whenever he would let me be his assistant. I was like, thank you, like just extra money. And I was doing this until I did all of this for a while. Did I ever see my funds? Did they ever give me the money? You're gonna have to tune into the next episode to find out. I hate to give you a cliffhanger, but there's just so much in this bear that I have to split it up a lot. But I promise it's worth the listen and worth the watch, especially to anybody going through a hard time right now, or doubt, or going through, you know, struggles in their career too. If you're aspiring to be a musician or creative, like, this is why I spread this out, this story, because I want this to be a message and a lesson and an inspiration to whatever you're going through, to know that, like, take care of yourself for sure, but don't give up. So on that note, thank you guys so much for tuning in today. If you like this new layout, please let me know in the comments, and please stick around after, because it's gonna list the songs for next week. So please vote for your favorite cover. You must vote by commenting in the YouTube video below. And don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Thank you so much, and have a good evening. Bye.
Thanks for watching. Please consider supporting Sarah Lightman on Patreon.